3, 2, 1, go.
So this is 86.
86. We just did 85
86,
yesterday and launched it this morning already.
All right, so I actually have kind of a surprise guest. We weren't really planning this. We kind of were just going to get together, but Mr. Guzman's in the house. We appreciate you coming over, man.
Thank you for. Where do you look over here? Kind of
anywhere.
Anywhere.
That's you.
Hey guys, thanks for having me.
But you're here for a reason, though.
Yeah, I have a show on Saturday. My first official attempt at a pro card this year.
I feel like you've been chasing it for a minute, though.
I've been competing for a minute, but I've always kind of, whenever it came to looking at my physique as an actual, pro versus or an athlete instead of just a YouTuber who competes, there's a big difference, right?
I hate that word. YouTuber.
I hate it. Influencer.
That's like the worst thing
I hate
ever,
it.
right? Have you ever introduced yourself and been like, what do you do? What do you do? It's like the person asked me, they're like, what do you do? Like,
I say I work in the fitness industry online. Fitness or I'm a trainer online.
not a content creator.
No.
Whenever a company sends me a contract and they say influencer on it, I always change it. Like, I don't deal with influencers.
Why is that what it says now? Or?
Yeah, I'm like, no, my people are real athletes.
Affiliate.
They're not influencers.
So he does a lot. He does a lot of management, and he books a lot of events. So like a lot of the stuff we international, I just mentioned Mexico. So he handles a lot of, actually you handle a lot of influencer people too.
I do, but I refuse to use that word.
So do I. They evolve over time. I think I don't know. There's the ones that have a problem with that word. I feel like have been around for longer, in a sense.
What I mean, listen, you've been around a minute, and I was just talking off camera about the first time I witnessed seeing you was at an expo. I didn't even follow social, and I was kind of new to it. Like as we got into like 2012, 13, and they had you at an expo. I thought it was the LA Fit Expo. I'm pretty sure it was the Olympia. That same time, yeah. So someone came over, actually one of my business partners in my early supplement days, and was like, there's this young kid over there, and he has the longest line in this place. And I'm like, well, who is he? He's like, oh, his name is Christian Guzman, and he, I said, well, what does he do?
He makes videos.
No, he says YouTube. And I was like, okay, like, what does he put on there? And he's like, well, he's like does these like day vlogs and whatever else. And I know early on you followed Greg, right?
Greg was he was definitely my
inspiration.
100%, yeah. The motivation part of it was
and I used to do a lot of appearances with Greg, and he was intertwined in the whole space, and he was like one of those super motivational guys. Mm-hmm. And is that what you were doing early on? Like,
so for me, it's almost I was a kid that he was speaking to, and as in the super, super quiet, shy. I was 100, same height, 5'11 and a half or so at 115 pounds. So I wanted to start training when I got in high school, and I found his videos in high school. So I started working out 3 times a week, and just got a membership on his website, and just it was my Bible, right? The videos, I'd watch them through and through and through, and just take as many notes as I could. And slowly I kind of started gaining a little bit of, I was getting known as the guy that you would ask for a fitness question in high school. So for me, it was not trying to emulate that, because I started making videos actually right when I started college, but I only did that because I wanted to document my progress on it instead of like try to motivate. I didn't want to motivate.
What was the fitness like if I asked you back then? Like did you want to get on a competitive stage, or did you want to put on size? Did you want to be leaner? I mean, you were $115.
I wanted to be the, if you look at some of my first videos, they're all natural teen fitness model. I wanted to be the a fitness model, whatever that meant. And that was before Men's Physique, and before, just that was really an option, I guess.
So you were considered a handsome guy, or would like,
the only thing I wanted in my life was most handsome in high school. So yeah, that's one thing. That was the only thing. But I think when I started making videos, I just didn't fit into the school thing. Didn't interest me whatsoever.
I know I read all about this. You started college, and you had to prove to your parents like, hey, this thing works. And I know about the notebook, and you know, you had your,
Yeah, you know about that? Yeah.
Yeah, of course. If I follow your stuff, you know, and you know, you had to prove to your parents like school isn't the route, which today, you know, we'll talk a little bit about, but you know, you've been wildly successful. Business isn't easy, right? But your dad had his own business, right? So
Correct.
did you learn like early on, like when you went to college, did you think I'm going for marketing for a business to eventually own your own business? I know the gym was like your goal, right? You wanted to have
I wanted to have a 900 to 1,200 square foot spot. Literally, it's
in Texas?
In Texas, right down the road, and to be able to teach kids in group classes, you know, like stations, agility or speed stuff, like athletic stuff mixed with, you know, weight training, and rotate 3-4 classes a day.
Did that come from an athletic background or?
Actually, I was the worst athlete on the planet, but I always tried real hard.
I see you playing basketball though all the time. You have a hoops
I've
over
been
there?
getting better. Yeah, I'm almost able to. I'm like half an inch from dunking.
You know what? When you're doing the bodybuilding thing, it's really hard to have balance, you know, with other sports.
And then you don't want to injure yourself.
Yeah.
So you just stay away from it completely, right? Like I think I stopped playing it about 8 weeks out, just completely gave it up. But I was getting, and I plan on going again, you know, and getting. We have a league at Alphalete that we do,
yeah,
ABL. So it's it gets real competitive. It's good. It's fun. It really, I found that's a better distraction and outlet for me than even honestly at this point fitness.
But the calories, man, you burn. I mean, how do you keep weight on?
I got to diet down on 380 carb for almost the whole prep.
Is that the highest you ever gone?
Well, yeah, I dropped 30 pounds over 20 weeks, and for 16 to 17 of those, I was over 350 carb, which was like amazing.
I would probably shrink to nothing on 350 carbs.
Oh, that's not a lot.
I used to diet on 1,000 grams of carbs a day.
Wow.
I was 300 pounds. I mean, at my biggest, you know, here. I mean, I was super active. I was training twice a day, cardio twice a day. I mean, I'm doing this whole Fit for 50 thing right now, and I'm on, I probably eat about 400 grams of carbs a day, about 400 grams of protein, but I do cardio an hour in the morning, half hour at night, and I train in the day. And I almost do that 7 days a week.
I'm over here bitching about my peak week. Like, man, I got an hour 15 cardio, you know, and feeling like that's why.
Well, I saw this morning you posted you went and did cardio, I assume, right?
Yeah. This morning, and I have a night session as well.
So, you know, you hit me up and you're like, hey, all I have to do is train. That's the only thing I really have to get done today, right?
Yeah.
And, you know, but you're super active for peak week.
Yeah.
Which surprises me. It shows a little bit about your work ethic. And I think that's what, you know, watching all the videos over the years, I think a lot of your fan base and the people that admire you, I think that's what they look at the most is like your work ethic is second to none.
Thank you.
How do you surround yourself with people to level up to what you do? That's my question.
Look up to people and look at people outside of just your city, right? I think that for me, I was always looking at back in 2011, I was looking at Matt Ogus and Chris Jones, Physiques of Greatness, and Dana and Rob, the Baileys, and looking at you, looking at, Greg Plitt, looking at the people that were just at that, almost at the unattainable, magazine, like
that you think
are.
Yeah.
And then I guess, really just trying to copy, take a little bit from, I like this about that person, this about that person. I like how Rob does this like crazy, like he just says, fuck it, let's do it, and then you like how Greg has that motivation.
He's super close to Rob.
Really? I literally called Rob when I was ready to buy Alphalete, and I called him. I go, Rob, because he was with me. I ran into him day one of Alphalete launch back in 2015. Right. And so I called him, and he essentially, I go, okay, there's an 18.5 acre property. I have to get the whole thing if I do it. It's $110,000 a month just to have the property before any sort of like renovation. And this was right before COVID happened. And he goes, and I go, is there anything, I know you do Airbnbs and you have all these things, like, is there anything I should, be aware of or conscious of? He goes, man, I got about 8 properties. You could have one. You could do one. I go, say less, let's go. so
that sounds about Rob.
It does.
To the T.
Not realizing that the one property you're trying to go into is a lot bigger than a house.
because he spent a lot of time in where they're located in Montana.
Yeah, I go up and see them. They're actually with us this weekend
Yeah.
in Mexico.
Yeah, they'll be with us.
Dana's like I like both. I love both of them so much. I was at their. I did a speaking event with them.
I
God,
saw,
it was so bad. I get so nervous. They told me it was with Ed Milet and and I go, is there any advice? I was freaking out and I was like bursting out of my suit. And they go, just don't do a Q&A. Whatever you do, don't do a Q&A. Don't open it. Just like have a plan. And so first thing I did.
That's great. You know what I'm thinking of? When the second year of the American Fitness Expo was this last weekend, and I picked Dana and Rob up. They just flew to Montana. And I pick them up from the airport, and Rob steps in the vehicle, and the first thing he says is, I just bought a house. We're moving to Montana. It was just like that. And he goes, yep, we flew up there. We saw a house. I bought it. We're going home. We're moving our shit to Montana. I'm like, nice to see you. The first thing out of his mouth.
You want to know what's funny is when Rob, like I went out and they had a veterans event in Pennsylvania. So I went out to the gym and, we did this whole thing, this charity thing. And Rob hits me up one day and he's like, when this was around that time, and he's like, hey, how big is that space you have back there? I'm like, it's like 2,500 feet. And he's like, all right, I'm sending the equipment from my gym down. I'm giving you the equipment. I said, dude, I can't take that stuff. He said, yeah, we're moving the gym. We're closing the gym and we're moving to Montana. He's like, I'm going to send the equipment down to your place. And I'm like,
wow.
Yeah. And I'm like, dude, I don't have the space. I don't have the space. And he's like, oh, okay. All right. So I guess he pieced it out one by one. But that was like the call I got one day from Rob. But that's how he moves, right?
Yeah. And you should go, all right, cool. We'll talk later.
They usually do probably 2 or 3 appearances with us a year somewhere.
That's so cool. I really like. There's not a lot of people in the space that I feel like I still connect with a lot. But anytime I see them, honestly, there's not many. I feel like at this point.
Well, I mean, she was kind of on that. Like she didn't compete back then, early on, right? And eventually, she went and won the
her podcast
first
was
Olympia.
great, by the way.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed her podcast.
Is she not doing any? She's not doing a.
No. The one. With us.
The one she did with us.
It
Yeah,
was a really good one.
I kind of knew a lot of stuff to talk to her about as well, just because I'm real close to them. And she's just such a unique person.
She's never changed.
No.
And I think that's one thing about like the people in the industry that you can, if you feel they don't change over a decade, then you're talking to the real one, right? Yeah. The real person in there.
Yeah. As often as I can, I try to put them on events with us. So it's been this year. They've only done. Did they do LA with us?
I think they had something else.
No, they had. This will be the first one of the year they did. Usually they do the Fit Expo. This last weekend they couldn't, but this is the first one. And then obviously they have a house in Mexico, so they're going on to their house afterwards. So
yeah, they're in Cabo now.
They have a house there, so we get to spend a couple days with them. So I'm looking forward to it because I don't get to see them that often.
Yeah, authentic people, right?
Yeah,
hard to find.
And fitness is a little awkward in that sense, right? Don't you feel like
they come and go?
It's hard, right? You've seen it. You've witnessed a lot over the years, right? I mean, the come up of a lot of people, and who has the long term,
who's willing to
ability.
Adapt.
Yes.
All right. The adaptation is like
chameleon.
Got to be a chameleon.
But don't you feel like life gets busy and
you can do the business part instead of your passion?
I know, yeah, because sometimes you have to seclude yourself. I think I always say this, like in order to be great, you got to be very selfish, right? To be super successful at anything that you do. And, I was a bodybuilder for, so many years and struggling to break through and become the best in the world and battling obviously Ronnie, right? So, for me, I always had to put myself in kind of a hole. And I had this tunnel vision. And that's the one thing about the ability of successful people, whether it's competing or in business, like they can block a lot of the noise,
obsessive.
Right?
Yeah.
And I just asked you about having like big balls to be able to pull the trigger. I mean, we didn't plan on a pandemic, right? I don't think you even knew a pandemic when you signed probably the deal to do the project that you did. And listen, everywhere I go around the planet, people talk about Alphaland. But your original passion is the Alphalete brand, right? And obviously the gym.
So it's not the clothing. I always say like
it's the gym.
It's a gym. And that's why like that 900, 1,200 square foot like spot, that was always the dream. And going into college and kind of starting to film and everything and that door sort of presenting itself, and it started to open up, and I started, making some money, and kind of, it kind of diverged me out into this, almost like you said, like this I'm an introvert to the max. So
I am the same. Yeah.
Anytime I'm in an expo or just, I can do it very well, but it takes a lot.
It's just not you. Yeah.
I'm fried after for a while.
Yeah.
And so for me, I think Alphalete was simply, the clothing brand was simply a way
Extension.
to fund a bigger, and actually successful, hopefully, gym. Because I just wanted to build a cool,
What's the demographic of your clothing? Is it women side or men?
It started fully men in 2015. And then I remember 2016, we did our first women's sports bra. I sold 3 units. I literally made a joke, I'm going to go hand deliver them myself. I'm like, I'll just what's their address? I walk them, right? And then from there, right now, we're about a 65 women, 35 men, which is really what's taken the company revenue-wise to new heights. But as I'm very detailed, and so that's why I feel like I'm good at making the clothes. It's also a crutch in a lot of ways, though, because it'll hold me from pushing things forward all the time. I'm pushing back, and I'll sample something 9 to 12 times if I need to, and a lot of times it just puts us in.
How many manufacturers do you have currently?
Total 19 manufacturers, but we facilitate a good chunk of those into a single point of contact. So we speak with about 7 different.
And you handle pretty much all of that, right?
Yeah.
What are these? Are these like early morning, late night?
So during the Alphaland years, and even until this past like October 2022, that's when my men's fashion designer started, which I didn't even have a design team in-house. So it was me doing all the manufacturing communication, the samples, the fits, the adjustments, trying on models, like all of it, which was a lot, which would be, early in the morning. It'd be like a 2-3 a.m. start. And then I had some team, a group called Fit Design contracted in Lebanon, 8 hours ahead. So 1 a.m. to 9 a.m., they're ready to work. If I'm up late, I'm like, all right, let's just skip this one, I guess, and keep going. But I knew that'd be a temporary kind of phase to just get settled with the building. And really this year I've learned so much about just where I need to be putting my time. And it's not in keeping it afloat, it's in finding management, finding like superstar players.
We talk about this
all the time.
That is the number one changing. Like that's
invest in your people, and you don't have to stress. You don't have to worry. Just make sure you have the right people. In the right
I know, but do you feel like vetting people? Do you think that's the toughest thing?
I think you can never stop vetting people. I think for every one good one that's going to stay and have an impact on the brand, you'll have 10 that you would have to try. Shit hits the fan. You have to, fix their stuff. You let them go, whatever that may be. But when you get that one, though, I think if you can get up to like 3 to 5 strong single individual managers that are good with teams, I think you'll be set. At least that's I feel at a much more relieved state now with the clothes, because I've got my men's and women's fashion designer now.
How hard is it for you to find people that want to work with you as a career, not a job? Because there's a huge difference. Someone that that's going to work from the time they open till the time they close their eyes.
I asked them, in 5 years, what do you want to be doing? Where do you want to be? Because they're all entrepreneurs. Mm-hmm. They all have their own shit, or they have their own brand. They have their own aspirations.
Is there an age bracket that
I'm finding is working? Is the age bracket that's working is honestly, my best one is 44 years old.
Wow.
44. She worked.
There's a reason for that.
Lulu, Nike's, Ralph Lauren, the Black Label, the Pixar Animation. Like in her list, her resume is just incredible, right? And same with my men's fashion designer. He has his own brand. All the NBA players are wearing them. Kevin Hart's wearing it, right? Things like that, where it's a small brand, but he's got the eye for it, and he's hungry. And so when you find those people, as long as you're clear from the get-go, and he's from Canada, so this is like a temporary kind of deal for him. But if we set things up here and set processes up, like we'll be able, and I can help invest into your brand, get you going, and just like go, right? So everything's transactional.
This is all you though, right, Christian? I mean, your company is you, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about the women side, obviously Heidi's in the picture, right? I mean, she's been obviously gives you some feedback, right?
She helps me when I got no one, because a lot of times I'll literally have just nobody to help.
But
I
your
try not to.
eye, you're a gym guy. Now you're a fashion guy.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, how do you make that transition? Like, do you just kind of learn as it goes, and you learn about fabrics, and you learn about stitching, and you learn about how you source? Like you just mentioned, X manufacturers. Like, how do you determine and do good business like that? Like, what sets that up?
10 years of experience of trying it and working on it. Right. It started with 3 T-shirts, 3 colors, and then you deal with the shipping issue on that one, a customs issue on the next launch, and then you deal with Canada customs on the 5th launch, and then you deal with, it's never ending. We still deal with the issues, but now we have a lot of product. We have a really small team for how we're operating and doing, but I think I was the only other thing in high school that was good at was art and drawing, like very good at drawing, won the whole district like for that, and so I think that skill translates to the clothes like a lot, just the attention to detail and like focal points, and just honestly then just being a perfectionist, not wanting to put something out.
So obviously this you just mentioned, like it sounds like the gym thing is going to be a bucket list of like, okay, attention is going to this, and the expansion, maybe not of Alpha Land.
The Alphalete Athletic Club.
Okay.
Those will be what we go and take and do no more than 7 locations. I think that once you make the choice to go franchise and everything, I just don't really.
Where is number 2? That's the question.
I actually want to do number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or 2, 3,
Locally.
4, 5, all at the same time. Around the world.
Okay, but do you have some places in mind, or do I need to go watch the latest YouTube?
in mind, I'm actually like traveling a bunch, and part of the traveling a bunch right now.
I noticed that. I've noticed.
I'm just kind of taking a look. You go to Cali, then you're like, how much is how much do these go for around here? These buildings. Never mind. And then you go to Florida, and and we're in Orlando, and I'm asking everybody I'm meeting, hey, like this is great and everything. Where would you go outside the city to kind of? Because the thing about Alphaland, it's outside of Houston, like on the outskirt. You can't even find it.
I know you went to it, right?
No, Dana went and trained there.
Okay.
But I was it was just too far at the time for me to get over there.
From the airport.
We go to downtown. We were in the Woodlands, I think, the year.
The first year in 2016 was the Woodlands.
It's about an hour 15, hour 30.
So yours, if I remember right, it was Southwest. Yeah. And then we were training at Hunter's Gym because
Labrada.
Yeah, we trained there, but the times didn't work out. So
he's a great guy.
Dana went and met Hani at your gym last year and trained there. That's when she trained 3 times in one day.
Yeah, and I wasn't there for that. Yeah, and they never text me when they go either. They just like show up and then they don't text me.
It's kind of funny because I'm involved with Young LA. Working with Gary and all the kids that train at your gym out there, and they always talk about like I know a lot of people migrated there during the pandemic, and it seems like and Ronnie showed up there, and I see Jesse and all these people that come out there, and I'm like, man, I wonder if I could ever walk in that gym and actually work out.
You can, and if you can't, I've got a private gym. Private gym with a basketball court.
But I don't mind it, but I just see
I do it every day.
I just see it as, a place where it's like, man, like people would spend hours on end. Yeah. Like when I used to go to Gold's Gym Venice back in the day, like that was like the place, right? Yep. I would spend like 6 hours there, and it would feel like it was like that.
That was the mission behind Alpha Land, was to build the Dreams facility, the Dream Hangout for the 19-year-old me that was starting out with making those videos. That was just obsessed with it, right? That wanted to be in the gym, eat, film, have work.
Are you utilizing all space now?
No. Oh, no.
Not even close, huh?
Not even close. But we got I have plans for each.
How many square feet do you have? Like
I've
under roof?
Got under roof with all the buildings, we've got 10, 20, 23, 40, 70, 120,000 under roof. But with the expansion plans, we're doing like a 4-story parking garage, and because we have 236 spots that are filled up every single day. Every day.
And where do they park when they run out of space?
We have a backup in the back lot, that's where we'll do that 4-story. But it's we have whole plans for the spas, all that, the more bougie kind of like things that aren't really the demographic, but the daycare, all that'll be right across the front entry in its own building, the barber shop, all those kind of deals and amenities, just to also bring that value.
Will your expansions be similar to that?
They're going to be similar, as in they don't need 18.5 acres. They would need about 1.5 to 2 acres.
But it'll have all the same amenities.
Correct. It'll have at least at bare minimum, it would have the retail component. It would have the Alpha Eats component, which is my mom's cooking. And then it would have the at least 2 different style of gyms. So whether one is AC, one's no AC, if one's going to be, whatever that may be, an outdoor, covered Metroflex style, facility, and one's going to be brand new, Equinox like lighting kind of feel, then we would at least have 2 options. And then we would also have the 1 basketball court, and just kind of build off of a version of that. So we need at least 3 stories, 2 to 3 stories, if it's not going to be a big spread out. I sound like a psycho, don't I?
No, I mean, you did the impossible, and that was probably the most expensive structure ever.
And I didn't know how to get a loan. I just got a $1 million loan.
And the bank works with you? Do you have a good bank that works with what you do? Or
So I got bad credit. I've always, since I was a kid, I messed up. I signed up at Anytime Fitness and whatever happened. So I've been working on building that back up. But when I went to go, I got the property down to $8.5 million for the land. Mm-hmm. And then I only asked for $1 million. So nine and a half was the total.
Cash, you paid a lot of
cash. I paid 2. And I only asked for 1 for renovations, thinking it'd be a 4 or 5 month paint job and tear down that wall. Spent $20 million with the land. And that was all out of pocket, the rest.
What do you think of that?
That's severely under budget or over budget.
Change order. Change order.
But you know what, though? You learn from it, and the next ones, you'll make that much more off of it.
Exactly. But your projections have blown away, whatever. Yeah. I mean, you said, I read somewhere you projected 4 and you did 15 or something.
We did 9.8 million first year in total revenue, which I predicted 3.5 to 4, realistically 3.5 to 4, which was incredible.
Is that just with the gym, or is that with everything?
That's with that's
retail,
retail eats. 68,000 day passes last year.
That's not too bad.
Which is pretty fucking.
Imagine if you had one in Vegas.
If you were in Vegas, bro.
Well, let's do one together.
If you were in Vegas, that would.
I've been trying to get him to.
I'm
for
not
years.
even joking.
I'm dead serious.
I'm dead serious.
We've had many conversations, and he needs a gym in Vegas.
Let's do it.
Everything under one roof.
The day passes here would be. I mean, think about
obscene.
it. Where you're at.
This is the entertainment, fitness, music, every capital of the world you can imagine.
I agree.
I know you're here for reasons. I know that you have other events later in the. We talked about.
I'm not gonna lie. I've been hoping to just have a day with you for so long. I was the whole prep. You could ask me. I've had it written down in my notes. I'm like Jay Cutler collab. So I know you're like, oh yeah. Just
we actually. This is maybe about 2 months ago. We actually talked about it on the podcast and said, I got it on camera now. You said we can do a gym. So we started looking at properties, and he
got to buy though. Don't rent that 150.
Of course,
because your line of credit.
We wanted to buy.
You got to buy.
Look at why are you whispering? What? You don't think the camera's picking it up?
So
God, nobody's gonna hear it.
So your line of credit, then it's so quick you get that signed off.
Do you remember? It was years ago before you started summer shredding. Mm-hmm. So we talked a little bit about, you wanted to do this whole competition thing. You wanted to host this event. We were sitting at Wet Republic and we had a conversation.
I'm like, oh.
You said to me, you're like, you want to do a show. And I said, your platform's so big, you could do sooner or later summer shredding was formed. And now you've expanded this thing now to continents.
5 shows this year.
Right? And you do have something. Do you have one in Vegas happening?
We have a championship happening October 22nd in Houston at Alphalete.
Okay.
So that'll be the where you qualify the tier system, top 5 of every class from every show of the year get to qualify for up to 2 years to enter. Really the difference is the prize is going to be a career path. Cash, and then a career path, sponsorships, negotiations, vlog set of that entire deal.
I'm saying this forever. Everything he's saying, I've been telling you.
So what? So tell me, shredding tour. Tell me what you have, what locations this year.
So this year we started with Tampa, and so Tampa, Florida. Then we went to the UK. We had to cancel because it just
didn't work.
Way too late.
It was happening, when we were in the UK. I think it was supposed to happen like within a couple weeks or something.
Yeah, and that was a super that. It was a great example of just trying to
do things
put
too
much
fast.
quick.
Yeah.
So and also realizing that, man, and then we have our next show, which was just 2 weekends ago in Houston.
I know a lot of people did
300 plus competitors, and
did you ever think it would be that successful?
Well, we would just do one a year, so they were always between 300 to 500 competitors, like every single show. But now that we have another 320 signed up for October 21st, and then we have over 1,200 people signed up and walking across stages here, and we do the transformation class, that's I guess the unique piece of summer shredding.
What do you look for when you're doing these shows? Like what's
for the transformation
or what? Yeah.
3-year journey. So it's for the transformation class specifically. That's how it all started with summer shredding. I was doing a YouTube series documenting prep, showing everybody how to diet. And you know what? This year, if you want to do it with me, take a picture. Here's your newspaper, and in 90 days we'll send our submission, and I'll give out 25K divided by 10 winners or whatever. And we got like 30,000 people that did it. And out of the 30,000 people, because it was free, I didn't want to charge anything. But then out of the 30,000, I'll never forget, like only
so many made
11,000 submitted finals. And I go, hey, you 20, you 30, 66% of people out there, you quit, right? Let's do it again this year. And I'm up in the ante, right? And just like letting money incentivize people really, but at the beginning. And then finally wanted to do a physical show. It wasn't too hard to figure out how to do one, so. And whenever I would compete, there'd be like little things I would want to, see.
You pick it apart.
I pick everything apart, sadly. Yeah.
How many contests have you done? You're in a men's physique.
Men's physique 9 or 8.
But you've qualified before.
I didn't know I had qualified because I would just do it for YouTube.
Okay, so it was more like the experience and getting your community to kind of follow along
and just getting better than I was previously.
How does it make you feel though that you're like a lot of people anticipating this and wishing you? I saw your post this morning and you guys sitting on the luggage bags, and I commented on there, and I saw everyone saying, "Oh, good luck in Vegas." And how does it feel to have a worldwide audience like that behind you when you're not even a pro? Yeah. In what you do, and what's the goal if you get a pro card?
That's a funny question because, I hate saying it, but I'm like a dog chasing the bone. The big part of me doesn't want to get that card for at least 5 years. I want to keep trying.
The journey's just
I love it.
I tell a lot of people that we talk about this, like
I don't want it.
They're giving a lot of pro cards, and the build up. And I can tell you this from winning, if I didn't get all those seconds to Coleman, I was second 6 times and I won 4 Mr. Olympias, right? I was second to Ronnie Coleman 4 times. I never would have became as popular because people wouldn't learned about my mentality, or I wouldn't have probably worked as hard. I probably, I don't think I would have become who I became if I would have won it right out of the gate, like in 2001 when I probably should have, I wouldn't have had the career. And I think, people don't take advantage of the build up in the amateur ranks, because once you get to the pros, then it's like, okay.
Then the next level is like,
you see the guys. Don't you feel there's a big swing between amateurs and pros in the men's physique division?
It's like literally like if this was a beginner in the gym, this was a intermediate, then this is a NPC competitor in IFBB pro. Like up here.
But I don't feel like you're discouraged by that because it's the journey that you're loving.
Better. I'm getting better every year. Yeah.
That's the same with like business as well. If you don't like the journey,
yep,
you have to like the process.
See, what I love about what content you put out, you're like, you said, I'm the brokest millionaire there is, right? Mm-hmm. Because like you're just transparent. You just said my credit's bad. Like I didn't have a business. Like you're just because he doesn't know a lot about you, so he's learning a lot right now. I mean, do you see how transparent
Yeah,
he is?
no. I was just going to say, I don't know if I've ever heard of anyone on camera say,
5:15.
I got bad credit. Usually people lie about it.
Man, and it's just wild.
5:15 is pretty bad, though.
That was, yeah, I was like,
I didn't hear 5:15.
I just said,
okay.
Mom, what do we do with that card?
I was going to say, I think you're automatically start off with a 5:50.
I know. And yeah, so I had to buy my house in cash when I was like 20, own myself a CD, all this stuff. I learned so much about, and those are the conversations I just hate hearing, all the accounting and just the, I hate
But did
it.
you talk about this when you did that speech in Utah, or did you not? Do you feel like everyone
Rob introed me like crazier than
he's
I could
taking over the world?
Yeah, and I was like, man, thank you for that. Right, I was not expecting that one. I really appreciate that. I'm Christian. Do you have any questions?
I think from here forward, whenever you do a speaking engagement, you need to walk out and say, first off, I have the worst credit of anyone in here.
Yeah,
It calms the crowd.
yeah. Second off, yeah.
But don't you feel like everyone now, like you hear a lot of people doing this motivational thing, like, and you could literally, I mean, I listen to the pods that you've done, I mean, and I catch things here and there, and it just blows me away because, like, you know, everyone puts on media like, oh, I did this right. It's like when you hear about stuff about me, like you hear about all the great things I've done, but the failures, you know, the bad deals I got into, like we all have them, right? We just tend to not put certain
You don't
things out
show
there.
it.
But you're very transparent with the media that you do, with the sleepless nights. I mean, people don't. They don't
get
realize
mad at
what
me
that
when-
is.
And what's nice is like I rely on that community so heavily, as I always have. I never really had like a group of friends or anything. I got right from high school. I just was obsessed with fitness and just, you know, I was every hour and a half. I'd be in the food hall because Greg Plitt said every 90 minutes. So I'm 90 minutes having toast and peanut butter and just like, you know, I just kind of sacrificed my entire, like willingly, very willingly. You know, I was at 4:50 a.m. I'd be outside in the front of the campus gym, just ready for 5 o'clock, listening to Eric Thomas on my headphones and Les Brown and all those speeches and the bodybuilding motivation and I download all the videos, which that's where, you know, you were all in every single one all the time, which is so cool. And you know, I just wanted to do whatever I had to be a fitness person, you know.
Do people around you say, though, hey, you need to stop working and enjoy what you've accomplished ever? Because people tell me that a lot. I mean, we constantly talk. You know, you came in here and you're like, man, I don't know how you do this. And, you know, I still travel extensively and I work pretty much all the time. Like, working is fun for me. And my dad passed at 92, but he worked until he was 89. He had a fall. But my dad in his 80s, like, was doing exactly what he was doing in his 30s, 40s, 50s.
Can you imagine how dangerous and sharp we're going to be in 30 years? I heard Gary Vee kind of in one of his things. He said in 20 years, I'm going to be like just the way your brain starts operating and developing. And I've seen that really when I turned 30, I feel like I've had a lot of like self-reflecting for the first time, and I feel like I'm just like leveling up in my own. I'm understanding more and more and more so quickly now, I feel like, and more about people and tendencies and stuff. And even in what I enjoy and what I don't enjoy and what's important and what's not. And I don't know. I forgot the question. But
it seems like you're getting busier and busier, though. And is that okay with your lifestyle?
It seems like it, but I'm allocating more and more. So I'm becoming less physically busy and more calm. Which even this prep, I think I did 2 all-nighters. Last year, I had, probably like 20, 25.
I know, but you've been traveling nonstop. I've been watching your media. I mean, you're in Florida for quite some time, right?
Yeah, it's not too bad to stay on track, though, right?
You're training, eating, getting
Airbnbs,
Airbnbs, hotels.
Home 2 Suites. I just found the Home 2 Suites. Those are
That's
great.
the spot.
They bring the little to the top, and I'm like, well, this is life-changing. So now I only stay there.
And is it hard to be away from home and away from the business? And, I mean, I know you can pretty much work mobile, but...
I could leave my phone and be the happiest for 2 days, 3 days, and I'll just be. I don't want to see it. I don't want it. I'd rather not hold it. I'd rather someone else hold it if needed, right? And because a lot of it's very different now though than it was a few years back. A few years back, I even like last year I was in it, and now I'm just putting a lot more trust in the 2 fashion designers and also my creative director, soon to become CMO, Kirby. that's a huge one off of me as well. And it's not off of me. It'll never be off of you, but it's just able to let me breathe more.
Is there something that happened, or is there a moment when you realized I can't keep doing all this? I have to. Is there a certain moment in time that you realize that?
When I uploaded that, I signed the contract of my life video for my 30th birthday. So I wrote a letter to my 40-year-old self, and I said, "Dear Christian, you just turned 30, and I'm going to open it in 10 years, right?" And it was a whole letter, 10 big goals over the next 10 years. And I knew that when I wrote those goals, they're gonna happen, right? That you have to I'm going to find a way to make those 10 things happen. And for me, I knew when I wrote those 10 and I posted that video that was going to be me evolving into I'm going to do what I want to be doing. I want to make 1,000 YouTube videos over 10 years. I want to build my dream home. I want to start this. Like, I'm not letting the work control me anymore as I would, and I feel a slave to it. Right. And I'm really good at flipping the switch, I guess. And kind of like, it's coming, guys, on February 20th, I start prep. And when I start it, and things change. And people believe me when I tell them that now, because I really don't go back. Like,
what was the hardest goal for you to write down and finish? Because it, like, maybe
be present.
That's your hardest one?
No, I would say the hardest one would be, a lot of them have already like pre-lined up sort of, trajectories and things like that, and I've been working on the side. But the one would probably be, I feel pretty confident in all of them, to be honest. It's just the one that I'm kind of iffy on is honestly the gyms, the 5, because of just learning, really how big of a task that one's going to be. I know I could do it, but I don't know if I'd prefer to have 5 or just like 2 or 3.
Is that you having 5 or partners or friend? Like, what is it?
I'm open to it.
I know, but you said you don't like partners.
I don't.
You strategically have to.
That is true.
Because you know why I talk about level up.
80% of partners fell through.
I know, but you got to find level up people. Yeah. That's hard. That's
very hard.
I'd rather pay someone $500K a year, $800K a year, and have them operate with a 30% bonus at the end of the year and operate that business.
Do you feel though? I mean, listen, every region is different, right?
Yeah.
So, do you feel you have the formula to overcome the obstacles?
I think I do. Yeah, because I think that in the next 10 years, every single commercial gym out here that's got 10x members than we have, right? Because they have all the clients that build. I think that the new wave, the new era, if you don't adapt the chameleon, that's inevitable.
So you think the $10 a month is?
I think for people that want to make a career for themselves and want to, which is
they'll pay the premium.
We charge $109 a month if you're doing month to month, and
I know, but that's not a high like for
our area.
It's average here.
Really?
Yeah. There's gyms over 200 a month here.
See, I would.
That aren't Lifetime or Equinox.
Yeah. See, we don't even have a sauna. We don't have any of those like fancy things. We just have a lot of equipment, I think.
What do you feel? What do you feel is the biggest, the most positive thing about Alphalete or Alpha Land Gym?
The energy, 100%.
Why? The demographic of people that come there. Like I know people of all ages that come to your gym.
Yeah.
It doesn't really discard anyone from coming to your place, right?
No, not at all. I think just the sheer fact of like really the summer shredding is the biggest motivation for me. Just seeing. Like that's the single day of the year, when we have those multiple shows and I get to meet her, like those are like the most impactful, motivating. I would say that the gym is like the second one, just because of the like all of my headquarters for the clothes is on the second floor, and you can literally see like from my office just everybody walking in and out in the parking lot, and you see just like you can oversee just everybody just like building together, and it's almost like just facilitating. And you brought up like Young LA, like shooting there. So, and I figured like by getting everything, all the walls being neutral, everything being classy black, white, nice and just open, we're not putting Alphalete everywhere. So like we're not trying to
Not
tag your
branded,
photo.
yeah.
We want to let you do your thing and encourage it. Then I think that's the key to big growth.
You know, the Gold's Gym did that back in the day. You know, they used to brand their walls so like every picture that was taken was noticeable where it was at.
And the Gold is a.
You know why I think this type of facility would work so good? If we learned anything from the pandemic, we learned that our time, for many of us, we were wasting it, and you were forced to kind of be locked down, and you realize that time is the most valuable currency we have.
Yep.
When you have a facility like this where you can get food, you can train, you can get your hair cut, you can get all this, you can meet people. Everything is under one roof. Like I had a conversation with someone the other day just about a simple haircut where they have to drive 45 minutes. They have to wait 30 minutes to get in. It takes 30 minutes to drive 45 minutes back. That's 2.5 hours of your time where someone could go train. They could get their hair cut. They don't have to sit there and wait 45 minutes. Or they don't have to wait. They can be getting training, doing whatever else. They can get this done. They can get their food. They can get their clothes. They can get this under one roof. That gives you that much more time to go put your time into what you want to outside of there.
Exactly.
So a facility like this where someone might say, that's $100 a month. You know how much time it's saving you every day?
We have no
Every week?
marketing at our. We have no. There's no ads. There's none of that yet. That's just strictly off of the social media, which is like. And some people will call it the TikTok gym. That makes me so mad. I hate that. I hate it so much. So what we started doing to kind of go the opposite direction I just want to legitimately. I want to be able to say from a lot of our members that I think that gym, Alphalete, has literally every machine, everything I need and want is there. Right. And that's the goal to develop and add to, and just, if they want a sauna, if they want volleyball, boom, we do it. We do it. And I think going at the gym approach is, I don't think you can beat somebody that doesn't, I don't care about the money you're making $1 from it. I just want to build the best one. Right. So if I'm willing to throw everything at it, it's going to be hard to beat that kind of mentality. And I just want to enjoy it,
How much time do you spend there at your own facility? Like you just asked me when I walked in, do you prefer to work at home or, and I see a lot of your vlogs. I mean, you're working out of your home. Yeah.
During prep, I made a new rule for myself because I kind of touched on how I felt like I was getting controlled by my work. And so for me, I made and Alex Ramosi, actually, like, I've heard him say this. He doesn't take any meetings until after whatever time, like say 11 a.m., right? That's his hours in the morning. So I set my time to 12:45. Said, okay, 12:45, I'm in control of my time. No appointments can happen. No meetings can get booked into my calendar unless I'm putting them in. Unless I'm going to go do that, so I can focus on what I need to do for the day. And then 12:45 is my workout time. So really, I'm not in office till 2:30. So but 2:30 till 7:30, I'm in office ready to help my managers with whatever they need so they can allocate and delegate, not the employees, just the management. I won't speak in any normal lower level employee I'll catch conversation with. It's a very, I've learned to kind of navigate it into,
proper channel.
Proper channel. Oh man, I'm in. That's changed my life. Yeah. The work chart, that changed my life.
How about the balance of friendships?
That's a tough one.
I heard that with Max says you're so busy, right? He was here and we did it.
Yeah, he's busy. He's busy too, though. we're all so busy, and I think as long as the understanding is there of that, and as long as there's effort put throughout the year to show that you're like, it doesn't matter what level or what expenses is going to be. Like, no, you need something, I'm there.
Well, some people have like a Friday, we meet up, and it doesn't really exist. I mean, in my world, it's like I'm booked every week, and I never know where I'm going to be at. It's like when we kind of started, communicating, I said, just let me know when you get to Vegas. Yeah. That's how I work.
My whole team's like, I need to know what time is this, and I go, guys, trust me.
Yeah,
we're good. I'm going to text them on Monday. Trust me, we're fine.
So I was like, you were like, no, I'm on your schedule, and I'm like, I'm on yours, and and I didn't know really. I guess communication was a little. I don't want to take up your time versus you didn't want to take mine.
It's a good trait, isn't it?
But we've been trying to connect for so many years, and I told you, hey, I need to come down and. We were just in Houston, and we were literally I was in and out. We literally landed. I landed Friday night, got there at 10, and I left at
We left at 6
o'clock
to go to
on
the airport.
Sunday night. So
man.
We literally went from the expo
Yeah.
with our bags straight to the Uber, straight to the airport.
Are they doing it again? They just did it? The expo?
they
was
just
this
did
last
it.
weekend,
Yeah,
yeah.
it was only a 1-day event for us.
Yes, should come
So
to summer shredding in October.
It's my birthday weekend.
October
Not that it
21
matters.
and 22nd. That's
I
when
don't
we
know
wore
if I don't know if I'm booked then. I see a lot of the guys are
It's
coming
2 weeks
down.
before
so.
Olympia.
Usually that's the same weekend as the Abu Dhabi and the UFC fight
Yeah.
in Abu Dhabi, but I don't know if we're going to go this year.
It'll be big. It'll be fun.
How many do you expect?
Competitors, about
Yeah.
365.
And do you do an online portion also?
Not anymore.
Okay, you used to do it.
Why don't you compete in it?
And you asked me to judge. You asked me to judge it. No, I'm doing Fit for 50 right now. No.
Exactly. You'll
So-
be fit.
You're 4 weeks out, by the way?
Nah, I'm just under 3 now.
That's why I'm like, you tell me what we're
No,
doing.
Well,
so-
your birthday's next Thursday.
Yeah, but no. Yeah, I'm.
It is next
yeah,
week. It's not
okay.
3 weeks. It's
not
a week and a half.
I'm doing this whole thing for the Masters Olympiads in
Yeah.
Romania. So everyone thought I was
about a month.
competing again.
Yeah.
But I said, you know what? I want to be in enough shape that I can take my shirt off, and people are like, that's a respectable 50-year-old man, right? Which I'm at that point now.
How do you feel about body dysmorphia?
I never was like that, to be honest. I'm the least ego driven, I feel like, because listen, I fell into bodybuilding because I found the gym, and I was like, you know, in college, I was at that crossroad. I can relate to what you were saying, is like, I really didn't want to go to college, but I did. I had a family business that did concrete, and they really wanted me to do that business. And I said, you know, I wanted to do my own thing. And, you know, I went to school for criminal justice. I did 2 years. I got my associates, and I said, you know, that's enough for me. I'm done with this. And you know, at the time I found bodybuilding. So, you know, that gave me the opportunity to, you know, get into, you know, competing, and, you know, sooner or later I got sponsorships, but I didn't ever plan on making money.
Yeah.
And money was really never a driving factor until I started to make a lot of money. And then, of course, the
10K a month.
endorsements.
That's where it changes, huh?
Well, I mean,
That's where it changed for me. 10K a month.
I don't know. What's like, we look at numbers and we say, well, how much does it
I was
cost
like,
to live?
I'm
And-
rich.
Yeah, of course.
10K a month, I'm like, I'm
it's all perception,
balling.
right? I mean, you've done everything. You've done contest prep. What else? I mean,
For-
early stages.
For money,
Yeah.
I was Cellucor's. It all started with Cellucor affiliate program for me.
Was that the first brand?
That was the first brand I ever worked with, and that's when Dan eventually
was
reached
there,
out
yeah.
and called me. And he was like, "Has anyone ever been in touch with you?" I'm like, "No. How am I doing?" You know, he's like, "You're smashing it." I'm like, "Really? People are using my code?"
Yeah.
And then from there, it was, you know, we kind of went from there. You know,
We still work with Ghost today, right?
until Dan and Ryan are there, I ain't leaving.
They have a big facility here, warehouse, yeah.
We
drive by it on the way to the gym.
They have blown it up.
Yeah.
The internet, wild. But I actually signed with Ghost 2 years before they had launched, and at the time I didn't really know about payments, and I'll sign. I like you guys. I don't need a payment.
Yeah.
I'll wait. But and I don't take any of it back. You know, I really I respected the belief that they had, and that's what
How cautious are you with your brand?
very extremely.
So how like, as far as licensing, like, obviously you do your own pre-workout through the Ghost brand, right? Is that like the only outside deal that you have done outside? I mean, you pretty much own all your other branding, correct?
I own all the branding, and even with that, there's the reason I haven't partnered into Ghost is because of future stuff. with
Brand
that, you
stuff.
know, yeah.
Okay.
So partners are on the way.
Good.
In short, yeah. In new spaces, I think will be a fresh and easier to create something new, you know, in the space.
So that's one of your 10 things, or
That's the $100 million brand, the new one. Yeah, is that one?
so you're setting your
Tell you
goals
later.
pretty high. Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, it gets people excited a little bit, gets people talking, you know.
Yeah, I want to in the next 10 years start one single business that's in a fresh industry that'll do $100 million in revenue within a single calendar year.
I mean, you've watched some of your friends expand. I mean, obviously Mac's doing candy, and
I convinced him. I was like, "You got to do this candy, man."
Yeah.
For 2 years, he was on the fence about it. And then, what's the worst that can happen?
why did you think he would be so successful at it?
Because I see him
Eating
at
sour
expos.
strips?
Well, yeah, actually,
He's
Like,
eating sour candy, or
sour candy. Just like again,
like was that like
guy.
like a bro science type? Hey, before I train or after I train, I'm going to have this candy. Or
not for him, it was just he just loves sour candy. He watched the movie, and then it became like the power lifter, the intra workout carbs or whatever, and then from there it just got to wow. There's really not actually sour candy. Everything's kind of sour, not actually sour, and that was the name, actually sour.
What's your vice? I mean, what are you looking forward to after this competition besides, the content piece and talking about your journey? Is there something
I'm making
specific?
a documentary as well. I've been filming it for 20 weeks now, one day a week. We're doing all the big cameras and stuff. And
where do you expect to put this in a film festival?
October 19. We're going to premiere it at Alphalete the same weekend as the summer shredding. We have a whole premiere going.
Do we have a title of this, or are we keeping it under wraps right now?
Cut.
Nice.
Oh, hey.
Yeah.
See, this is see, you don't realize you're falling right into his trap. I see it coming.
The cut chapters is what I'm thinking, and it's going to be it's really going to be a 24-week span of a prep, and covering every single week all the travels in Ireland and here, showing one story of an entire prep in one episode.
What has been the most challenging thing for you in this whole transition of gaining muscle, adding weight to your body, secluding yourself, burying yourself, balancing business? Was it the pandemic? Was that like what really
the growth?
Yeah. I mean, how do you, is it, so you made this joke about balance. Some people have said to you, you lack balance. Is that why you said that? Or I hear the same thing.
Yeah, but balance is what you make it, isn't it? What you believe balance is for you. It's individual.
Yeah. What someone thinks living life is totally different what you or I or he or.
But if you enjoy what you do, that is balance.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter.
I'm balanced.
You could work 20 hours a day, but if it's something you truly love, what else would you do? Let's say you take a bunch of time off. Well, if you don't, what are you going to do? If you love working, you're going to go back to working.
I heard a dream house, but I don't hear about like magical vacations or, bucket list. I mean, it seems like you're documenting. You had said Ireland. I mean, some of these places are like bucket lists for people to visit. Is it all transitional with your business? Is that what it comes down to?
All the traveling?
Because I don't ever see Christian Guzman being like, okay, guys, you handle it. I'm off.
Oh, no.
And you're sleeping till noon. And
that'll happen when I burn out, though. Like, that'll be...
I know, but you shouldn't burn out because how are you going to burn out from what you love?
Well, Mr. Beast said, it's kind of similar with like not burn, that's the wrong term, but I'd say like just like a battery where you charge up and then once you're on low and I'll push it till I'm at that 1%. And as soon as it hits that 0, I know when it's coming. And I know when it's coming, guys, I'm about to go into a little hiatus, which this hasn't been this year. This has been the Alphalete years. But those weekends were a blur, like just a blur. And so, yeah, I mean, I guess, but did I enjoy all of it? Was I balanced? Hell no. But I think to make a difference and to do something impactful, I think
you've changed a lot of people's lives by your dedication and your selfishness to be a better you, and that's what I learned over my career also. It's
like we owe it to them. Like they made me who I am. Right, that feedback in that community, literally, like I was the opposite of how I am now. Back in middle school and high school, complete opposite. Didn't believe I would copy off every single test, every quiz, every
shortcut.
I was shortcut. Didn't believe anything in myself, right? Until I finally I was trying to copy this kid in art class. Right, I thought he was the best. His name was Kevin, and I was copying his style, just trying to see how he would do it and how he'd mix the colors, and I ended up winning best artist in the district, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, me? I'm just copying. I'm trying to copy what he's doing. But that's how you. Then my art teacher, she goes, Christian, you are good. Your decision, like what you're doing is good. You don't need to be looking at other people. And for me, that was when you really learn. Like, let me look at this. I like that how that person does this, and that person does that, and that one does that. And then you build, without even knowing it, you build your own identity.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this wall right here.
This real wall.
Yes.
I
People.
can't believe
You
it.
see the trophies over here?
Yeah.
See all the Arnold Classic trophies. We don't have the Olympias. That's one
Chris
thing
Cormier.
we were gonna,
Chris Cormier came in here. He's like, I thought I was going to steal a trophy.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So every picture here, I can tell you has a story to it, right? I mean, I look at some of these, like this picture right here. I was taken at my condo in Orange County, and this was 2001. You know, I have this was in the newspaper for the Arnold Classic one year. They were comparing my arms to like rubbish barrels and whatever else. But you know, this picture was on every bus and a huge billboard in Times Square of Ronnie and I. So this is a build up after the year Ronnie came back and smoked all of us in 2003, and that's when they brought in, you know, Triple H to try to make bodybuilding a little more exciting. So like we talk about your documentary, like this is a full-fledged documentary of
Your life.
yeah, I mean 20 years of passion and uncertainty where there was times, Christian, I wasn't sure if I was going to be successful. Like I remember thinking at 18, like, okay,
Oh, same.
I take my brother's business, which is wildly successful. They're getting ready to retire right now. They're like 64, like 63, 64. And they started that business when I was my brother. I have 3 brothers, 3 sisters. I'm the youngest of 7, yeah. So my brothers were my role models. My father was my role models. And I was a kid that never spent time sleeping at other people's homes. I mean, I was very kind of secluded. We grew up on like a farming community where I wasn't allowed to have like sugar cereals, or I never had really like fast food and that stuff. To this day, I still never had Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell.
That's why you're like how you are.
So for me, and if you said, well, Jay, why don't you experience, because I'm afraid I'll like it,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
It's another vice, right? I like In-N-Out Burger, like that's one thing.
That's the obsessive coming out.
And
Yep.
I don't know if that's so healthy, but that's what made me great at what I do, because one thing I was able to do, I wasn't blessed with the best genetics, but I was blessed with a work ethic that just could not be, it couldn't be defeated, right? Was able to put on blinders and put on tunnel vision
Sacrifice.
and block all the noise. To this day still, I'm not a super, you would probably be surprised, but I'm not a super social person. I go to these
I'm not
places.
surprised at all.
Like I go to these places, and you can ask him because he travels. I bring him anywhere now because he's like kind of my liaison in a sense. Like, okay, you set this up so it's just easier for me to walk in, do my business, and I literally go from the expo to my room, or you know, the event. We do a lot of military stuff, whatever, and I just have to shut off.
You have to charge up like
Yes.
a battery.
So that's how I'm able to do it, and I've been able to do it for this length of time. And then I come home, and he knows like Monday's crazy. Like, you know, we filmed a podcast yesterday. So in getting to now do this media stuff, like we're starting to learn to enjoy it. Like
You're getting great at vlogging. I'm going to say it right now. You're getting good,
I'm starting to,
comfortable.
well, you know, I realize now, like I can't imagine that at my age I'd still be doing it, right? I never planned on being a vlogging person, right?
You're an
Because if
influencer.
you watch
Influencer.
my early videos, I didn't say
I know.
one thing.
No, I know. I did watch
I
them.
was a robotic. Okay,
You were on a mission.
I told the guy, don't ask me a question, don't bother me, and don't get in my way. And I used to tell people, hey, I'm going in the gym, and I put my phone in my car in the trunk, and I wouldn't have a phone for those 2 hours because it was a
still do that.
deterrent for me. Because you're going to check your phone, you're going to,
I just need to write it down.
what do
how much
people
weight.
do in between their sets, right? If you're in a gym and you're just focused, and you have to give yourself that time, because what I learned early on was the training was the ultimate escape. That's why I fell in love with weight training, because when I got in the gym and I trained from 8 to 10 at night, I was going to class during the day, and I was at that huge crossroad. My dad was like, you have to do concrete, and you know, my brothers are like, I was like, I could shut off between 8 and 10 at night in that gym. I got in those weights, and I started pumping the weights, and people don't understand it. That is what people drink or smoke or do drugs for, to escape. I was doing that inside the gym.
100%. And for me, the same addictive personality. I remember growing up, I'd play this one stupid game online. It was like called RuneScape. Not stupid. It's a great game, but I would just go in on it. It was a never-ending game. You couldn't beat the game, right? It would just build your character and keep evolving. You have to work for your money and trade people and all this stuff. And I was so hooked on it and then the same happened with guitar. I just got super into guitar.
But you're still doing guitar. I see you.
Yeah. Yeah, I love.
Are you good at it or?
Yeah. I was a guitar teacher for in high school. That's how I made my money. I've never had a job. So I've never, ever had a job. I applied at the car wash.
Of course you had a job, but like you never worked for someone.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, correct. Like
entrepreneur since day one, right?
Yeah, but not intent. I mean, I just didn't get accepted anywhere. So my dad was like, well, take your guitar. You're good at that and figure something out.
Oh, so you started early with
15.
the guitar. Okay.
Yeah. I went and printed flyers and I went and handed them out in school. That if you have a younger brother or sister, I couldn't even drive yet. I was 15, not 16. But my dad was like, yeah, take the car. I was driving at like 10 with him in the car. So he was like, I was 15. Yeah, close enough. Take it.
So my one of my good friends that used to own Flex equipment. Do you remember Flex equipment? It was bought by Star Trek. It's a weight equipment. You know, it's probably in your gym. So he collected Van Halen's guitars, and he just sold the Hot for Teacher guitar for $4 million.
God damn! Wow.
From Eddie Van Halen, yeah.
Damn,
he collected them.
He just passed last year.
Yep, he just sold it for $4 million.
Man, Eruption. That's
crazy.
I
right?
can't play that one.
I mean, what do you find for your challenges now? I mean, this competition this weekend. I mean, your expectations. Tell me honestly what you envisioned when you get on stage this weekend.
I envision a sharper, more confident, smoother, calmer competitor. This prep has been different in all the other ones in the fact that it's been, one, a lot longer. Two, I haven't steered off anything. I never steer off. I always like the conditioning. I've always been able to bring because I'll just like stay on that Stairmaster if I need to. I'll do what I need to do to get conditioning. But now I feel like I've over the 10 years of competing, every year I'm 3 to 4 pounds heavier than the previous year on stage, and it's literally been since 155 when I started at 19. Little bit. Now I'm going to be like 180, 181, and I know confidently that I'm going to look the best that I have.
And is that like what's going to be a satisfactory goal, like as far as placing or position?
That's a good one.
You don't.
I don't even know what to expect. I really don't know what to expect. I know that this is the most prestigious.
You know, there's a shit ton of guys on the show, right?
Yeah, but so you can't think about them, right? I don't think about them.
No, you only think about.
I know I'm going to be the most shredded one there. I want it for men's physique. I want to be the leanest, most conditioned.
And you have
one.
A coach?
I do, yes, Alex Toplin.
Okay,
I just did the.
Yeah, of course, I know Alex. Yeah.
Yeah, and we.
Is he coming to the show or
no? So he didn't qualify. He placed 8th at this Chicago Pro
last weekend.
So he's doing Tampa next. Okay. So I said, I don't want to see you here. Just lock in.
So you are sending out like pictures and all that.
Yeah. I've always coached myself for all the way up until about 3 weeks out to really just peak properly and have like the eyes on me. And I'm though I have a coach and everything, like for everybody that when I recommend something, I always recommend if you learn how to do something yourself first, right? At least at a base level, like research how to do your meals, how to that your meals consist of macros. They're macros in your meals, right? And test out the 3, 4, 5, 6 meals a day. See what you feel best on. I think that if you don't do it yourself for a bit and learn how to do it yourself and know how you can transition your body, then you're putting yourself in a weak spot to start because you don't know how to do it.
You think everyone needs a coach though?
No, not everybody. A competitor looking to dial into it. And
a set of eyes. Do you feel like everyone needs a set of eyes?
100%.
How handy are the eyes around you besides your coach? Who would you trust opinion on?
You, Jeremy Buendia, Seabum, my coach, and Jeff Nippard.
So I'm asking like around immediate people around you, like in your, like do you sit and pose with the? with any of the.
Yeah, Harry, Heidi would be like, "Oh, your back looks like last year."
It's hard to see your back, right?
Yeah, the lower back. I'm like, "Is the Christmas tree there yet? You know, is it there? Do you see it?"
What's the best placing you've done? You won what?
I won a lot of this. So
Phil Heath Classic.
I don't think I did that one. I've won like probably 4 or 5 of my
Brada
shows.
show.
Yeah, but I never went to the national one. I didn't know that you could qualify. I don't know. They need to do a better job.
So why'd you pick Vegas?
It lined up with my schedule, and I heard it was the most prestigious. I was like, let's do it.
It's Mr. USA, dude.
Mr. USA is the most prestigious amateur show in the world.
Let's see how we do. You know how we stack up.
Yep.
It's pretty cool if say you're Mr. USA. I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty big. I won the nationals. I was a national winner.
Yeah,
To get
Phil
my pro
Heath
card.
did as well.
Phil Heath won USA, I think.
USAs.
Yeah,
You won the USA's.
yeah.
See Goose
05.
coming up soon.
05.
And who you'd use as a role model in
competing?
fitness? Yeah, and competing. I'm not asking for business or what. Like, do you look at physiques and say, who do you think is the best physique in the world right now? I hate
Being
to put you on the
honest,
spot.
Jeremy
yeah.
Buendia. I think
Like
he's going to
him.
bring it. I like his
He
shape.
just came and trained with you. How do you think he's very intense, his mindset?
He's evolved. He's intense, but he has evolved as a person like you wouldn't believe. Really. I met him 7 years ago. We trained in L.A. or Orange County, and it's a much different Jeremy coming in.
So
now.
did he come specifically to come out to see you and train in Alphalete?
Yeah. I just wanted him to come check it out and see if he wanted to come down and make some content. And cool. Like, we've been friends for a bit, and him, Bradley Martin, anyone I'm with the Baileys, I'd really try to keep kind of like,
with Jeremy, I never thought I thought he was like a Phil Heath where I wasn't sure if he'd ever lose.
yeah,
And then
that shape is hard to beat.
Yeah.
And now he's just even
Like 17, he was unbelievable. Like, that was the standard. But they've transitioned now, like, what the standard is for so differently. I mean,
And after the Chicago last week, I mean, the looks are really the winners. Alex got 8th place.
yeah, that
And
shredded,
he had
the
the
shredded
most
guy
Aaron
won
Banks.
most. I forget. I follow him on Instagram, but
And his front, great conditioning, next
Yeah.
level. But
his
the
back
was
wasn't
not there.
as big as some of the other guys, right?
And if you're looking at Aaron Banks, Alex Toplin had the closest physique to Aaron Banks, that structure, that look on that stage, I thought. And it was an oddball.
You think Aaron Banks will win the Olympia again, or you think Jeremy will give him a challenge?
I think Jeremy's going to take it. Yeah. Just because in person, it's
The
crazy.
taper and all
And
that.
the pose, just like the aesthetic of it. I think it's, especially if they're trying to bring it back, he just needs to shrink his arms. His arms are huge. Huge.
That's a problem in men's physique.
Yeah.
You get knocked down for that.
Yeah. I've never had that
So
problem.
you practice you practice a lot of the posing, and do you feel like
That's my
you put
weakest
in a lot
part.
of why you just feel like you're stiff or
the guys that can dance naturally. That's not me.
I know, but
No rhythm.
practice
Rhythm.
makes perfect. But I mean, how important is it to you? Like,
It's
I mean,
getting
you want to
better
have
and better and
presentation,
better.
great, right?
It's getting better and better and better. And my one thing with the men's physique posing, it's the freaking front pose. The way my abs are sort of structured, my obliques, I can get my abs contracted perfectly, right, nice and pretty, I'll say. But then as soon as I bring the oblique in and hold the ab tightness and twist, there's a point where I can keep the abs still looking pretty, and I'm pulling. But as soon as it might maybe an imbalance or what, but it just pulls up and ruins the shape of the abs. But the obliques look insane.
Do you train your abs pretty often?
Not too often, but I brought my massage guy down, and I've been
Mario's,
doing
Mario, yeah.
Oh, you worked on him?
I know he is. Yeah,
His hands are good.
he's working with Regan right now. Yeah,
He was with us, and he came by the expo.
yeah.
Strong hands. I won't. His body work has been like amazing. I'm twice a week with him. For
How
a
long
while.
you go taking right off out of Vegas once you finish and move on to the next place? Or?
Tuesday, and then we don't have going back home until Toronto for summer shredding, and then 10 days after that, Pittsburgh for my second show. If I
Maybe.
don't win the first
Maybe.
one, yeah.
Be confident.
all
Almost
planned.
regardless, I think I want the second one. I want to see if I can do 2. I want to see if I can do that 4 or 5 weeks in between.
You love the torture, huh?
I do, yeah.
Unless you win this show,
I would think I would still do it for the documentary. Do 2.
then you'd have to turn your pro card down.
Oh, really? See, I don't even know how it works. I say that.
Well, if you win here, you'd pro show.
Oh, okay, then I do the ones
because
Alex
if you went and did North Americans, that's an amateur show, but you'd have already gotten your pro status.
Got it.
So then just go into a pro
what
show.
show's Pittsburgh? Is that North Americans? Or?
I'm assuming. I'm assuming, yeah, North Americans.
It's pro status is the winning.
Yeah,
It's not like Team Universe is already done, right?
Yeah.
Or, okay.
August in Pittsburgh is North American.
It's not September 2nd.
It might be.
I don't know. I'd have to check. I mean, it's usually around that time.
I'm talking about a second show. What if I can't even compete in that one?
Well, if you turn pro here, you'd go on to a pro show. But there's pro shows in August.
If he refused the card, though, he'd be.
Well, you could refuse it. I think he might do it.
Cards. But,
That'd be
I'm
gangster.
good. I'm good. I'm good.
Here's your pro card.
I'm good. Come
Here's your pro card.
Come to summer shredding.
That wouldn't be very good publicity, right?
No, that'd be great publicity.
Yeah.
So,
guy gets pro card and says no. You know who the last person who did that was?
I don't know who.
Jose Raymond.
Really?
Don't you remember?
No.
He kept turning his pro card down because there wasn't a division. Yeah.
I'm gonna accept it, and then they're gonna be like, "You gotta pay for it," and be like, "No."
Do you pay attention to
I can't afford it. I'm
do you,
rich broke lifestyle.
Do you pay attention to open or
Oh, yeah.
I mean classic, you're friends with
love,
C-Bone, but
I love open. Love it. Always loved it. Always loved it. Got more into it in like the 20s, 15, 16, 17, 18.
do you think Derek Lunsford has a great shot to win it?
I think he's going to win it this year. Yeah, I do.
What do you think of Samson?
Inconsistent with his conditioning he brings in.
He's
But when he
huge, though,
brings
huh?
it in, like Arnold.
You know, Nick Walker trains here too. He says he's going to win it.
Nick looks great. But I think Derek will take it.
Like Derek's shape. And
Derek's shape is a little bit more. Nick looks crazy though. I'll say I've never walked into a gym and been like, I've never had like the. But when he walked in, just veiny as hell, I was like, "What the fuck?" I don't want to get on. I don't want to.
He's a pretty young guy too. I mean, he's.
Then he talked to
29,
him.
I think 29.
Then you talk to him, and you're like, "Oh, this guy's." Everybody's just a person, right?
Did you witness when? I mean, obviously, you came in after I was kind of finished. We were there for the Phil Heath era. You know, Phil Heath was pretty unbeatable, right?
Reigned it, yeah.
Like for a long time.
Yeah, and the podcast you did with you guys, that was probably my favorite insight of Phil, because like
it was long.
I had met him a few times.
Almost 3 hours. Yeah,
met him a few times, and I don't know. I just never got a. It almost seemed like he was portrayed in such a way, right? And like I think that really like
Generation Iron shit on him.
so bad.
They did.
It's why they set that tone for him, right? And maybe because he was just naturally super competitive, you know, it let everybody accept that that's the personality that he is. But that was really like open. I feel like with you and when people come on this podcast to talk, because they're comfortable with you, you're opening up so much light and vision into other old school guys.
I think, but I try to ask the questions that, because I'm a fan. I mean, everyone that's been on the podcast, I'm pretty much followed or been a fan of. Like, does it blow you away to know that I followed a lot of your stuff as deep as I did?
Oh yeah, I was doing some clips before coming in here. Just real excited. I've been excited to do this. I'm excited to train. I feel like it's at expos and stuff. You never really. We're so busy and it's not the same.
Yeah, but I think some people, it's like they need to overcome that first introduction of people, and we're always around people, so we know that like there's cameras or there's people, so like we'll run into each other and it's like just general conversation, right? But a lot of people admire what you've done. I mean, your journey is like, it's amazing that your age is so young and you have way bigger, like you're in the early stages, like you're not even close, which people would think, oh, he's already achieved so much, right? And it seems like it's just the beginning of many great things for you, and
stepping stone.
Sometimes I wonder, I kind of question, I'm like, I wonder why Christian's competing like he is. And I guess it's all part of the journey and the influence. Well,
can't buy that physique.
But so many followers, it's like, they get super motivated by what you do and the trials.
Can't let him down. I won't let him down.
And expectations, and you're honest. Like, you're just going to get up there and showcase it all, man. I wish we could be here to actually watch the show, but.
Yeah. Oh, it's all good. It's all good. Maybe Pittsburgh.
You know what it is? Just hearing you guys talk, you haven't forgot what got you where you are. And a lot of people make that mistake. They get on a path, they get a certain success, and they take the success and they run with it instead of going, what got you there? If you keep doing that, you'll keep that success and you'll build on it. But you're still staying in your lane and staying humble to what got you where you are.
Trying to do everything also, right? I think sometimes when people try to do everything and dabble in too much, you kind of you put too much on your plate and you become forced to not give yourself the attention and the time. And I think that's what kind of got me to my breaking point. When I hit 30, it was like literally I was just I didn't want to go to the office and deal with all the crap that I thought that I had to deal with, because I knew I didn't have to deal with it. I was allowing me to have to do it. So.
What he's talking about here, we were down at a conference in Tampa, and I got to listen to Magic Johnson. And I was
supposed to do that one.
It was
Big Pines.
No, it was Vic Tippis and Magic Johnson and Jay spoke at that one. And the thing that I took from Magic was you have to learn how to relinquish control and put people in positions that are good at what they do, that are better at that than you are.
Better at
yes,
yeah.
They're better than you at that, and you have to take a step back and humble yourself and go, I need to let this person do their job.
100%.
And if they do their job, I can step back, and then I can take my energy and put it somewhere else and get someone to do that job somewhere else to where that's where you have the empire.
I call him a superstar. If I need a superstar, I'm not hiring anything less than a superstar. And that's when I need somebody to be able to manage a team of 6 to 12 people, right? And build and understand the vision and be able to come in and just set the example. And when you meet them and you're speaking with them and find out where they want to be. And if they're open with you and you're open with them and just establish that, everything is transactional in life, I think, truly, right? And when you understand that, and nothing's ever personal, but if you're, it's, I don't know, I guess there's nothing that can really bring me down in a day. You tell me, like, I don't know, your car guy.
You've been hit with it all, man.
Yeah, and then some, like taxes every year. It just comes in, well, boom.
Well, you got to look at the positive. It means you made more money. But, we're going to wrap it up, but we wanted to give you the opportunity, because I know a lot of people wanted to reach out to you or whatever. Where's the best place for people to contact you or follow your journey? Like, you obviously did this documentary, and when is this going to be wrapped up and done and expected to be?
So YouTube, I got 1,000 videos coming in the next 10 years. I've got another 960 left to go, and I'm doing right now, uploading every other day, 12 o'clock, and then it's a lot.
But YouTube, we're busy over here, huh?
YouTube would be the answer. YouTube.com/Christian Guzman.
Any other companies or anything you want to plug?
Nah.
Just go to YouTube. You'll find it all there.
Go to YouTube. Yeah. Just watch the story.
Follow his journey.
Like
it's all you care about, the journey, man. Yeah. That's what I learned that about on this podcast, is like, you're just in for the ride, man. It's awesome. We appreciate you coming on, and
thank you.
We're going to get a good workout in today.
I'm ready. Let's do it.
I appreciate it, man.